Hello, everyone. It is just about 5:30 on Tuesday, and it seems like I was just talking to you almost 24 hours ago. I love you guys, but I'd much better rather be talking about something else, but here we are. So as you can see from the radar presentation, we do have some supercells to deal with. These cells started, again, kind of like a record on repeat near Wichita Falls and have made their way steadily southeast toward the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And so this is the latest radar we have. You can definitely see a super classic supercell look, more of a hook type echo, if you will. No tornado warning for this storm over north of Fort Worth, downtown Fort Worth, severe thunderstorm warning. And we check out the details on that. Right now, it's warned for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. That has come down some. However, these storms have had a history of cycling up and down, and I think right now we are obviously in a cycling down. Now, that's the good news, at least in the short term. The potential bad news is that they tend to cycle back up. So it really just depends on when it cycles back up, which the way this has been going is every 10 to 15 minutes, it tends to do that. So if it's going to, no guarantee, of course, but if it's going to cycle up again, then I imagine it's going to start doing that pretty quickly. But in the meantime, that's what we're dealing with here. So expand this out a little bit more. As you can see, there is a tornado warning around and just west of Weatherford. I don't think that's been confirmed, just the circulation, but obviously there's enough circulation that the Weather Service is warning it for a tornado, which is obviously what they should do. Okay, so with that, let's go back and focus on the storm that has the most immediate impact for the Metroplex. All right, so this is reflectivity, and we'll put this in motion for you. Generally, an east southeast motion. For us here in Northeast Dallas County, uh, we want it to be more southeast. It's actually the last couple radar scans, it's taken on more of a easterly track. We'll see if that holds or not. Obviously, be a little more concerning for us if that's the case. Let's look at velocity. So this is not near as impressive as it was probably 30 minutes ago, and we'll put this in motion here. And you can see those bright colors when it was going through or Wise County and the northeast part of Parker County, and then you can see it's lost some of its oomph, which is good. But again, that's not to say that it can't recycle. So that's just what we're watching. But right now, it is not doing anything too horrible there. I know this was originally warned for 70-mile-an-hour winds and golf ball size hail. Like I said, the latest warning is for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter size hail, which is an inch. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. Obviously, we want it to go down altogether, but I don't know if that's really realistic at the moment. So, with speaking of hail, we'll look at the hydrometer, and you can see the green is a really heavy rain, where you tend to see red on the hydrometer layer. That tends to be where hail would be occurring. Uh, the good news is there's definitely some hail occurring. It's not too much, and it's not terribly big right now. Again, hopefully it'll stay that way. And if we put this in motion, we will see that, as you could tell, when it was northwest of Dallas Fort Worth, had a lot more red in it. Haven't seen any yellow today, so that's the 2-inch hail or bigger typically on radar. And so we haven't seen any of that so far today, and hopefully that will stay that way. And so that's the latest kind of hail map. Uh, all right, so let's go back to storm relative velocity. You see a broad circulation there, and that's the mesocyclone that's kind of above the surface a little bit, and not terribly impressive, but I'm not definitely letting our guard down when it comes to that, because it could definitely cycle back up. So, as far as immediate concerns, if you have friends or family that live in, uh, you know, Denton County, the the south central part, I guess you could say, southwest, north central, northeast Tarrant County. Those are the most concerning areas at the moment. Now, relatively speaking, not as concerning as we thought they're going to be, but again, it's not over. So, as I like to say during these situations, is that things can change pretty quick. So we just got to make sure that we keep our guard up, and that's why I'm out here talking to you. How is this actuary going to be, Kristen? Well, I hope it's going to be okay. Don't know that yet. Right now, if this storm didn't, even if the storm came right for us and didn't change its structure a whole lot, it wouldn't be horrible. So let's hope it stays that way. But right now it's not looking bad. But again, we can't let our guard down because we're not gotta get through the next couple hours before we know for sure. Let me say hi to Ian here. I probably said that wrong. I always get it wrong. Ian, I think it's Ian, but forgive me. I always get that wrong. Hey Andrew, how are you? You're looking pretty good, Andrew. Everything's south of you. So now, not totally out of the woods, but right now you're looking okay. So I know you got that big final coming up. And hey, Debbie, uh, you're welcome. I'm glad I'm able to be on. I don't anticipate losing power, but as I always say, if the screen suddenly, if the stream goes out, you'll know I don't have power. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, I'm sure you've been watching our storm buddies. I know I got Storm Runner Media's in the Weatherford storm, and so yeah, so they are. Luckily, and that's the thing I always tell people, the Lisa could tell you as well, the if you follow some storm chasers on YouTube, uh, you don't want them to be near where you live. It is fun to watch them from afar, but you don't want them to be near your house. Hey, Mandy. Yes, let's hope we keep the good things going. Hasn't been a whole lot of talk from the Weather Service yet about putting out a warning for Dallas County, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. Um, it is. I just don't see how they wouldn't. But hey, I'd be all for it if they didn't. Yeah, I do know you well. Hello, AJ. How things look for Garland? About like they look for Saxy. Right now, it's not the storm. It's probably cycling. So, but right now it's not looking too bad. Like I said, the storm is warned for inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That has come down quite a bit. I will say on its current uh, path and direction, Garland would be a little bit more in line than Saxe or Richardson or Plano would be. But again, we're probably talking an hour, maybe less, 45 minutes before we would know for sure. The general motion, like I said, is to the east southeast, maybe more toward an east direction the last couple scans. And so speaking of that, we'll put this in motion. Again, you can see they had a pretty good wind signature before. And, now it's, wanting to move a little bit more east. Not the horrible thing at the moment. We just obviously don't want it to strengthen. I'm starting to see a few more purples in this storm, so it's something that again, it's this kind of cycling up and down. It certainly doesn't have the classic structure it did before. Doesn't mean that it can't go back to that classic structure, but we just for us in Garland and Saxe, and no offense to our brethren elsewhere in Dallas or Tarrant County, but we would rather it stay west of our locale, and kind of 50-50 on that right now. But we are watching it, and that's why I'm on talking to you about it. All right. So while we have a moment, boy, it's hard to get rid of these things. I like to expand so not much going on other than these two storms. The more concerning storm is out near Weatherford, has a tornado warning on it. And that's the thing too, is because these storms, I will say, just full disclosure, These storms do have some tornado potential. It's the hail potential is relative between the two is more likely than the tornado, but we definitely seen both. We've seen hail, but nothing crazy. Golf ball's no fun, but that's not crazy hail. And we've seen. I don't know if we've had any. I think we had a brief touchdown on the tornado warning storm near Weatherford. Matter of fact, definitely got a good hail core just south of Millsap, and yeah, and yeah, again, that's our first yellow today, so not good for them. If we look at velocity, yeah, let's look at storm relative velocity. Yeah, definitely got some wind. It's like just south of Weatherford, and then the circulation is broadened out a little bit. Let's see. Just looking at what the storm spotters are saying. Probably not a tornado at the moment, but they're thinking there might be another one that could ramp up. Uh, so this one is also going through a cycle. So I would say if you live or if you have friends or family that live between Granbury and Benbrook, definitely stay on alert because if this circulation tightens up a little bit, then they would definitely issue another warning. So just if you know anybody that lives between those two cities, if it held together like that, Burleson, so just to give them a heads up, give a text, give a call, and say, hey, I'm guessing because of the way the weather is covered in our media landscape that we live in today, I would be very surprised if there were a lot of people that didn't know that there was a chance of bad weather. Uh, Call me crazy, but all right. So, but just in case I didn't, I would let them know, especially if you're down there. Okay, so back to the this closest storm in proximity to our neck of the woods, that being Collin, Denton County, Tarrant County, Dallas County. It's like right, not it's like just northwest of the airport. Pretty heavy core right there. Let's see what the hydrometer says. Yeah, I mean nothing crazy, but definitely got some hail over there. I wouldn't be surprised to see a hail report come from the airport. Um, and just FYI, they're going to reissue this tornado warning for Southwest. I don't know how far Southeast. I'm sorry. It's like for Southern Parker County. Okay, they're about to do that. All right. So FYI. So again, if you know anybody that's I don't know, it's probably not going to go into Tarrant County, but I would say if you know people that live in Benbrook, even like I said, even Burleson and Crowley, I don't think they're going to be included in that tornado warning, but it's definitely headed in that direction in a general sense. So you definitely want to give them a heads up if you know people that live down there. Let's look at velocity. And we'll look at storm relative velocity. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they. That's probably why they're going to reissue this. Look at that right there. Definitely trying to tighten up. And when they do that graphically, we'll see in just a second. So that storm, as far as tornado circulation or tornado potential, that is the most concerning storm at the moment. All right. And let's see. Hey, Erica, what does it mean going through a cycle? That's a great question. Okay, so the best way I could think to explain it is these supercell thunderstorms. It's think about it like a hurricane. A hurricane spins counterclockwise, and low pressure also spins counterclockwise. And these supercells, these really mature supercells, will create what we call a mesocyclone, and so that's pretty much in the core of the storm, and that's where tornadoes, if they are going to form, will form. But just like a hurricane, obviously on a much broader scale and a much more micro scale with the mesocyclone, but just like in hurricanes, the nerds in us will say hurricane eye. You have an eye wall around a hurricane. They in major hurricanes they have what we call ice wall replacement, and so you have an eye wall, and then it kind of collapses, but then right around it, it reforms an eye wall. And these are in like the strongest storms, so we call it eye wall replacement, eye wall cycling. And so it's the sort of same thing on a much smaller scale when you have this mesocyclone. Because remember, a low pressure is a counterclockwise, just like a hurricane, and so you have this counterclockwise circulation in the mesocyclone. And so what will happen is the mesocyclone will weaken, and the original mesocyclone will sometimes dissipate, but then right around it, it'll reform. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into it. It won't reform if it has ingest some cool air from outflow, if it becomes outflow dominant storm, for example. So, but if everything is inflow, in other words, moisture into the storm, then that's when it'll tend to recycle. Let me see if I could. So when I say cycling, it just means that temporarily it will it'll just reform the circulation, and it could be stronger than before. It could be weaker. Uh, let me let me zoom in on this particular storm. So it's let me put my drawing tool on here. So you kind of see it's hard to you got to use your imagination, obviously. So it'll go like this, and then if it can tighten up, and then it's tight enough to where the weather service in this uh, red box is a tornado warning. And so it doesn't mean that a tornado is necessarily on the ground, but it does mean that one could form at any minute, and that's why they give you the warning to say, "Hey, if you're within that polygon, then hey, take shelter." I mean, you have to just assume that a tornado is going to form. So that's what you have to do. So hopefully that helps explain that. All right, let's go back to reflectivity here. And in this particular case, there's a dry slot here, but if there's a tornado there, I don't know if you'd be able to see it. And let's see. Yeah, so definitely some hail over here. This is trying to form a hook here, but I think there's an outflow here, and so it's on the cool side of the storm, and tornadoes and cool air don't really mix. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that if you're in that area. Now, the other thing that we've seen all afternoon is that these storms back building to the west, which is kind of, to be honest, has kind of helped us because, we're Dallas Fort Worth in general has been on the eastern side of these flank of storms, and so you can see it back here too. Classic back building of you know thunderstorms, and so we won't really have to worry about. Not that it's impossible, but typically in these situations we don't get a lot of building to the east. Not saying it can't happen, but it's just not as common. All right. Um, so far, the Weather Service has not seen the need to extend the warning into Dallas County. So that's good. That means the storm is not getting crazy. We'll put this in motion. They actually trimmed the Tarrant County warning a little bit. All right, hold on just a second. Let me. Okay, never mind. All right, so again, motion was more southeast, and then kind of took on the east southeast, and then it's probably still a little east, just due south of east. Let's see. All right, hold on just a second. All right, when your kiddos call, you gotta take that phone call. Okay. Anyway, so where was I? So the weather service has not not that it can't change, but has not seen the need to extend the warning into Dallas County. Hopefully, it stays that way. And like I said, they trimmed this warning back just a little bit. Let's see if we see anything on spotter reports. Uh, let's see. So nothing crazy. And all right. All right. So for those of you just joining us, been on for about 20 minutes or so. As you probably heard through our wonderful media of the day, is that we had a chance of seeing some severe thunderstorms. We've definitely seen that. Luckily, so far, we haven't seen a lot of that in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex proper, but we are not out of the woods as of yet. Um, the main story right now is we do have a tornado warning for the southeastern part of Parker County, southeast of Weatherford. So if you have people or know people, have family, friends in the Benbrook area, not so much Granbury, but certainly between Granbury and Benbrook, just Benbrook is not in the tornado warning at the moment. But if you live in that part of town, or if you know people that live in that part of town, just may want to give them a heads up. Make sure that they understand what's going on. As far as so really, there's two supercells that are close to Dallas Fort Worth. That's the one that we just talked about, and the other one, which doesn't look quite as impressive, but doesn't mean it can't get its act together, is this one. And this one has not changed as far as what they're warning for. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter size hail. That is down from golf ball size hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. So that is definitely good. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. We'll put this in motion, see what it looks like. Expand this out a little bit. Definitely a bigger storm at one time. But like I said, it's wants to move a little more east and southeast. But nothing to no warnings in Dallas County at the moment. I would think seeing some purple splotches here. Let's see what the hydrometers say. Yeah, so definitely got some red in there. So it's definitely hailing. Just haven't seen anything. Okay, looks like the biggest hail report I just saw was 2-inch hail, but that was in southeast of Brock in Parker County. Okay, and that's not surprising because that's where the more intense storm is. All right, so let's look at well, I'm going to take you to the satellite. Well, I thought I was going to, but I'm not. Maybe I am. There we go. Okay, so I just want to show you this because this is how tall and impressive these thunderstorms are. And as you can see, you get this classic back building to the west. So we are not on that end of it, but this is I-20. So if you were to be south of this line, wouldn't be surprised if you saw some storms. But so that's just what we're dealing with as far as the back building, which is classic. Um, classic weather development in this situation. Hello, Carmen. Uh, yes, local weatherman Jeff is on the scene, as they say. Luckily, right now, there's not a whole lot of bad stuff to talk about, at least for the immediate Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. All right, so let's go back to the radar. All right, get you back there. There we go. Okay, so starting to see some development back down to the south, which is of this storm, which is not terribly unusual. So I don't know. Don't think they've updated that warning. Nope, they haven't. Okay, I don't think I missed anybody on Instagram comment wise. Nope. Okay, so right now, nothing too horrible. Now, I will say though, if you are in Southeast Parker County, a little bit different story. Gotten more reports of, oh, well, let's see. They just issued that warning. Okay. Just issued a new warning for Dallas County. All right, let's see what they say. Okay, it's the same as this warning here. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. So let's dive down a little bit, if you will. Northeastern Tarrant County, northern Dallas County um, did report a severe thunderstorm over DFW or near Grapevine, moving east of 30, hazard 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail. Everything's radar indicated. So again, that's what I always like to look at first. We haven't seen any ground truth of that. Doesn't mean there's not ground truth, but they just issued the warning. So I would guess the way they drew the box is that you would probably for that's obviously the core of the storm, and going to go something like that. Ooh, that arrow is horrible. So I imagine that's why they did the box. Now, as I always say, the boxes are always drawn. The polygons, I should say, are always drawn broadly because they want to cover the storm moving differently and all that. And so that's why. I would say, based on the movement of the storm, certainly if you're in the bottom half of this polygon, I would think your chances are better, greater to see that storm, that core. But again, doesn't mean that it can't make a left turn. They haven't really done that today, so hopefully it'll stay that way. Yeah. Hey, Rick, how does the radar tell us weakening, color or numbers? Yeah. So really both. I know that's a classic answer, right? So the numbers and the colors, are obviously correlate to each other. So in a very general sense, most everybody knows this. The light range is green, moderate range yellow, heavy range red. Purple doesn't always mean hail, but it almost always does. And so that's intensity. I don't think this radar shows they call it DBZ. And so the higher number of DBZ, I don't know if it's going to show up on here or not. Oh, it does. Okay. And so, well, as a matter of fact, we don't have to do it that way. We could get my analyzer tool out. And so, got 61 DBZ, 64. That's typically indicative of hail. Like I said, not always, but most of the time it is if you see purple. So that's how they measure intensity of the storm. Now, again, the reflectivity just measures precipitation. And I'm going to put that in motion because let's see what that sucker's doing. Yeah, it looks like it's see the last couple scans. Yeah, so I said the top half of the polygon, maybe the 3/4 of the bottom half of the polygon. Hey, Danielle, DBZ. So, yeah, what does DBZ stand for? Well, it's, oh my gosh. it is. Let me. I got. I used to know that off the top of my head. Let me tell you real quick. Du- 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 du. Nope, I don't want that. Because yeah, okay. So it is decibel. Decibel is relative to ZB is kind of a great thing. So it's it's weird, but think decibel. If we think decibels in noise, it's sort of the same thing. Is that the higher the decibels, the more noisy it is, and so the higher the decibel, the more intense the rain is. And so it's a classic math term, if you will. So dBz, that's it's decibels. Technically, decibels relative to z, and I'm not a big enough math brain to give you all the details about that. So um, yeah, that's there you go. It just means I always like to go back to it. Just means that the brighter the color, the darker the color, the worse it's going to be raining, and it can hail when it's purple. So that's what I look at. All right. So let's see if they got anything. Okay. So again, kind of expanding it out a little bit. This is there's two games in town. One is the bigger Supercell over in southwest part of Tarrant County, southeast part of Parker County. I do have a tornado warning for that. We get the details on that. Still radar indicated 2-inch hail. Okay, so nothing on the ground. And I will say too, if they get a spotter report of that, they will definitely change it to radar to observed. Luckily, we haven't seen that. All right. Yeah, Danielle said quiz time. Yeah. I used to, Danielle. I used to be able to just you know pop that off, but I just can't do it like I used to. So, but there was really good at the higher level math. All right. Let's, so this is reflectivity, like I said, it's range. So let's look at velocity. And nothing crazy. Uh, Storm relative is nothing crazy. Let's look at hail. Um, Probably definitely have some. Gosh, right by the airport. I always hate to see it over the airport. I hate to see it anywhere, but those planes don't take hail very good, and when they get hailed on, then they had to take them out of service because you just don't want any aerodynamic deficiencies in an airplane, especially when you're flying it. So hopefully that's not going to be a big problem for them. Hopefully it's not that big. But seeing that it's at the airport and there's an official observer there, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a pretty good idea how big it is here pretty soon. All right, so we can look at echo tops, and obviously, and this is just how high the clouds are in the storm and the cumulonimbus clouds. And so, yeah, you got 51,000 kilometers, which is going to be 44,000 feet. I always forget my conversion, but pretty tall, obviously. Um, so that's another, and by the way, that's another way, going back to Rick's question, that's another way that you can um, get an idea about intensity, because the higher the cloud tops are, the stronger the updraft, and of course, the stronger the updraft, the bigger chance you have for hail, and quite frankly, tornadoes and mesocyclones. So, all right. Don't think they've updated this yet. Nope. Kind of early to update it. Get all this stuff. All right. Let's put this in motion again. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, east, southeast, more of a motion. Um, which again, I don't see anything crazy with this storm. All right, I think that's for south of us. Yeah, that's for that storm right there. All right. Yeah, let's put this back in motion here. The good news is that this particular storm. I mean, like I said, there's no reason to get all clear yet, and but it's at least right now it's not looking too bad. So, which is good. um, hopefully, it'll stay that way. All right. Don't see any more. Yeah, definitely. Definitely want to move more east. That's for sure. And we'll zoom in on this a little bit. All right, so just for reference, this is Saxony Course, Richardson, Garland. Right now, I'd say the heaviest part of the storm is over Farmers Branch, to the east of there. Airport's not looking too bad now. If you look at hydrometer, somebody's seeing some hail out of that. And the thing I always like to point out with the airport is that it's such a huge place, um, way bigger than most airports. And so if you're on this side of the airport, nothing's going on the southwest part. But if you're on the northeast part of the airport, it's pretty stormy. So that's crazy about how big DFW is. Let's see here. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Well, thankfully, I don't have a ton to talk about at the moment. I hope that stays that way. But just wanted to kind of give an update on what we got going on. If we kind of look at the bigger picture for a moment, don't really see a lot of activity behind this. And so I don't anticipate that changing. Um, and I would think probably in the next hour or so, the weather service will probably start to trim back the tornado watch a little bit. But they haven't done it yet. But that's always a good sign when they do that, because then you got a pretty good idea that they don't think much is going to happen after that. Yeah, I still don't think we have an update on this. Nope, not yet. Imagine they'll update it pretty soon. Yeah, so looks like for again, if you know people that live in Burleson or Joshua, Benbrook, looks like they're going to update that warning to include baseball size hail. So if you have friends that live in that area, Benbrook, Burleson, that their phones will go off. So, because it's becomes a what we call it has a destructive tag, and whenever you get a destructive tag, that means that your phones go off. I hope, by the way, I hope that most everybody has their alarms, their alerts for weather, WEA, turned on your phone. Every now and then, I uh, run into people that don't have it turned on. And so, if you don't have it turned on, then you would not get that destructive warning. So, uh, always have that on. You don't have to have the other ones if you don't want them, but I would definitely recommend you do that. All right. Let's see if they've updated this yet. Yep. So that's where they put the destructive tag on. And baseball size hail, 6 mile an hour wind gust. Um, they haven't got ground truth of that yet, but from the radar presentation, they know that they are pretty confident about that. So that's why you see that. April on the internet, Instagram. Seems like we're out of the woods, or no, not quite yet. This storm that we're warned for in Dallas County is not showing any signs of getting crazy. So that's good. We're just not quite totally out of the woods yet, but this storm here is becoming a dominant storm, and so I would guess that it doesn't mean the storm is going to dissipate. It just means that a lot of the storm over here is using a lot of the energy. So not out of the woods yet, but and like and I say that because the so that's a possibility of hail in this storm. Matter of fact, I don't think they have a camera on this one. No, look for a webcam. So I'll be a little more confident in this storm not doing a whole lot as long as the next couple of radar scans we see that it's not going to get crazy. All right, so again, they haven't. Oh, they did update. Okay, they got rid of the Tarrant County part of the warning. All right, so let's see if still quarter size hail, 60 mile an hour wind, east at 40 over Farmers Branch. Okay, and still everything's radar indicated, so it's good. I don't want that. All right. Hey Dallas, is this heading to Saxony Valley? Do you think? Yes. We're definitely, as you can see from the radar, we're going to get some rain out of it, probably some storms. The worst part right now, it's not. Kind of hope that stays like it is. Yes, that second storm coming to Garland area. No. Well, I'm assuming Amber, you mean this storm. It doesn't look like it, and that's actually a great question. So we'll put this in motion. You can see the general direction being southeast. So I don't. I mean, this is some weather, so it's crazier things can happen, but I don't see it making a sharp left turn. So I would say no. Thankfully. Yeah, what direction storm in Richmond going? Yeah, it's pretty much going east. That's changed. I was maybe just slightly south of due east. Um, all right, so we had, let's see, so I got a hail report. Penny size hail at 6:35 in Luna, which would have been back over this way at 6:10. So well, about what I reported about 4 minutes ago. Um, so right now, I would say the biggest threat for the Northeast Dallas County area, Plano, Southern Collin County, Saxony, Garland, Richardson, Rowlett, is maybe some pea-size hail, maybe penny dime. And by the way, I should have said this last night, especially with the hail we had in Rowlett and Rockwall. Um, I even mentioned the word marble size hail. I know some people reported that, but I know we mentioned marble size hail a little bit. And I had forgotten that the Weather Service, this is maybe 2, 3 years ago, they officially quit. They used to use marble size hail as kind of an official hail name, and they quit doing that a few years ago because if we played marbles as a kid, then you know that there were different size marbles. And so they said, "Hey, well, hey, there's marble size hail." Well, what size marbles did you play with as a kid? It could be the smaller ones or the bigger ones. So we don't actually use that anymore. So that's why I say penny, dime, quarter, nickel, things like that. So just funny little aside. And I'm so glad I have time to tell you funny asides. Do lakes impact a storm? It can ramp up or not, i.e., being in Wiley or close to both Lake Lavon and Ray Hubbard. Not really. Um, they don't really have an effect on a storm. They're not big enough. If you're talking about the Great Lakes and things like that, yeah, the Great Lakes have a big impact on storms. It doesn't mean they just all fall apart every time you go over a storm. Um, and I don't think the lovely Sarah Brisbane is watching, but she's from Michigan, and she could probably tell you that if you have a storm over in Chicago, Illinois, and it's going east and crosses the lake, I've seen where the storm doesn't make it over to Michigan, or certainly not the intensity of it. So our lakes aren't just big enough for that. In the wintertime, under the right conditions, they can definitely have lake effect snow. I know that's crazy, but they can. Oops. Let me do this first. Oh my goodness. Hey Debbie, back on. He wants his phone back. Yes, always praying for God's favor. So far, we are doing good, and hopefully it'll stay that way. I prayed that prayer this morning. Good old Abra, sunny and pouring here. Would go liking for rainbows, but no. You might see one. You never know. Also, when I said golf balls yesterday, I found out it was ping pong balls are a bit smaller. Yes, and that's what some of them were big enough to cause that. Oh, I don't like that last part. Yeah, I don't know if you were just listening to Abra about the marble conversation of how we don't use marbles anymore. But to be fair, golf balls are not much different than ping pongs. So I forgive you. But yes, that and the ping pongs would definitely match up with more of what people said. Yeah. Oh, she had looking. Yes. Okay. I thought you meant. I thought you meant something else there. Yes. I hope you do not have a repeat of what you saw yesterday, Abra. Let's put it that way. Okay. I'm probably. Boy, I don't want to jinx anything. Probably gonna wrap this up here pretty soon. Um, I'm just looking at. See if I'm missing something. Yeah, got to put that in there. uh, okay, so nothing new on. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Just looking. I'm trying to see if there's any more thoughts on this particular storm because I don't want to sign off if it's about to ramp up. I don't see any indication that it's going to, but matter of fact, let's put this in motion. All right. So, like I said, probably the core, probably more just south of due east, and the core being the purple. Yeah, we'll stop that. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. Yeah, that's good because I'm so glad that you can go grab something to eat. And if you're like me, when I sign off, I'll probably go back and watch Storm Runner Media. uh, yeah, I still got their stream on the other stream on the other screen. So yeah, I'll probably go back doing that. And as I said before, I would when you have your storm chasers out there, you definitely want to see them somewhere else. So okay, well, I know some of you may have just joined us, and so thank you for joining. But luckily, unless something really, really changes, I'm going to sign off. But before I sign off, I just want to give you a recap. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Dallas County in effect, as you can see from the yellow box, and I already forgot when it expires. Um, 7 p.m. and was it 6:20? Hopefully, I don't think they'll cancel it early, but you never know. That'd be awesome if they did. Let's make sure I missed something. Okay. And so right now, I'm very hesitant to say, "Hey, we're out of the woods," but it's looking good. I just until the storm really gets out of our area, I'm not gonna be totally comfortable saying that. But the bigger picture is these storms, and so you can tell they were they still got a tornado warning for Johnson County, so that's warned for baseball size hail too. So excuse me, that is definitely the storm to be not to be messed with. You're welcome, Debbie. Glad to help. But you can see the bigger picture, not really anything behind any of this. I don't get the sense the atmosphere is primed for that. Um, so you can see we got these three separate supercells, one way out west, south of Mineral Wells, one southwest of downtown Fort Worth, and I guess you could say what's left of the supercell in our neck of the woods. Um, but it's not. Luckily, it is not misbehaving too bad. Although we do see a little bit of some hail here. Let's see. Let's put that on one more time. All right. So nothing horrible. And I'm gonna put this in motion one more time. Hello, Colleen. So Stars game at Plano, Napoli should be okay. Yeah, I would think you are okay. Go Stars. They should have won game 4. But let's hope that they make up for it tonight. So, um, yeah, even the location of where they're playing the game, they should be okay. But if you're watching it in Plano, you should be fine too. So, thank goodness. Okay, I don't see anything else in the comments, and so if you have a comment, get it in there real fast. You can always comment offline, so don't worry about that. Unless something really crazy happens, which again, this is North Texas. Unless something really crazy happens, I think we're this part of the Metroplex is done for a night. If you live in the south part of the Metroplex, and especially if you live in Johnson and Ellis County, it's your night's not over. So just keep that in mind, especially if you have friends or family down there. Hello, Regina. Yes, I hope we can all say it is a good evening overall. It has not been a good evening for everybody, and I feel for the people that have had to deal with this. And just man, look at that. That is some nasty reflectivity signature. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, the dreaded yellow when it comes to hydrometer. Man, that sucks. Okay, south of Benbrook, man, watch out. Liz, hello, Liz. You're welcome. Is there any other severe weather coming up? Not no. Well, not like this. So our next weather system will be Thursday, Friday mainly. It's more of a heavy rain type event as opposed to severe weather. So, I mean, it's still a little early to discount severe weather totally, but it's definitely looking more like a heavy rainfall event than severe weather. And this weekend, we are gonna have a real cold front for spring. It's gonna temperature's gonna be in the 60s. So enjoy that because that's the first weekend in May. And as we all know, if we've lived here long enough, they're not gonna be any more 60s in on the weekends here pretty soon. So enjoy that. So not really, not of any significance, certainly not for the next week. Hey Kelly. But tell your mom I said thank you. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so before we sign off, yeah, so okay, so here's how I'll leave it. So this storm is not giving up, but it's not crazy. And as you can tell from the storm track, the core of it was going to go probably stay south of 635 and maybe 635 and 30. So I would say that if you live in the southern part of Rowlett, Mesquite, the north part of Mesquite, south of I-30 in Rockwall County, just stay on top of it. I don't think it's going to go crazy, but it could, but I hope it doesn't. Just stay on alert for that. If something crazy comes up, I mean, like crazy, I'll come back on. But if not, I'm going to enjoy a relatively pleasant evening quicker than I thought, and so I'll definitely take that. Hope I didn't just jinx anything. So, okay, I don't see anything else. So, again, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. And the last thing I'll say, and hopefully you saw my reel this afternoon. I really appreciate the comments I get from people that say that I don't get on here and scare everybody and hype everything up, and I really appreciate you saying that because that is really what my goal is. My goal is not to scare anybody unnecessarily. And even if there was big hail coming or a tornado coming, uh, I would definitely have some sense of urgency in telling you what to do, but I would never scare anybody on purpose because that just doesn't accomplish anything. Um, but I really appreciate those comments because when you see, um, you know, when we see people out there, they just, yeah, if they scare you enough, you'll go watch them. And there's a lot of good people out there, so don't get me wrong. But I'm just not here to scare anybody. I'm here to inform, and that's why I did the reel earlier because, as I said, not everybody's going to see it, but these guys over here right now, yeah, they're getting the worst of it, and that sucks for them. But not everybody did. And if you live up this way, you didn't even get any rain. So that's classic Texas spring weather for you. And when you have these supercells that are separate each other from their self, if you in between them, you're not gonna get anything. But 5 miles away, it could be the worst of the worst. So I appreciate you when y'all say that. Thank you, Mandy. You're very welcome. Bridget, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for saving us from the hell yesterday. Appreciate that. Kenna, nice to see you. Thank you. Haven't seen you in a while. All right. And then yes. Oh, good. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, and that's what I try to do. It's like, as I said in my reel, we can't control the weather. I don't care what anybody tells you. We can't control the weather, but we can control how we react to it. So that's what I always try to preach is that we could be nervous, we could be panicky, we can do all that stuff, but that doesn't really do you any good. The best is it's always in the good Lord's hands. And the good Lord also tells us to be prepared. And whenever you have a situation like that, just be the best prepared you can ahead of time. And you know, that's all you can do. And and the less you get stressed about it or nervous about it, the better you'll get through it. But if you want to be nervous and that's okay, I'll be here for you. So don't worry about that. Yeah, I just had to put that on there. Hey, Bridget, it's a thing, man. You put your car in the garage, it's a thing. The hell won't come. So you just proved it last night. So and maybe today, who knows? Okay, so definitely glad we could laugh a little bit. Not laughing at my friends down southwest of us by no means, but um, if something crazy happens, I'll come back on, but I don't anticipate that. And I really, really appreciate everybody watching. I love keeping y'all up to date in a way I think that you should be. And then other than that, as always, I'm watching alerts. You don't have to. I hope everybody has a great rest of your evening, which most of us will. Yes, okay, I had to put that on there. Thank you. Now I can really sign off because Bridget's car is in the garage. But again, thanks for watching, and I will see everyone on the next one.